What is going on, y'all? Welcome to Joel Friday TV. I am Joel Friday. Welcome to the show. A few announcements before we get started. Hit that like button, smack it. Lay the smack down, like, subscribe, and share button. Tell your peoples about the show so we get the subscribers up and a message out. Do it now. Help a brother out. As you guys know, we are live Monday through Thursday on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Punchy.tv. And at any point during the show, you can call in by calling 888-775-3773, 888-775-3773, and we could talk about whatever's on your mind, the fires, the mayor, the governor, the president, whatever you want to get into, we can get into. Relationships, love, whatever it is, we can get into it. If for whatever reason you can't call in, but you still have a question or comment, or you just want to support the show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JoelFridayTV, or go directly to the YouTube live chat. Send your question or comments there. I'll read them live on air. I will read them live on air. All right? So you do have those options. Amazing stuff happening in the world. We got these fires going crazy. When I tell you guys these fires are going crazy, it's going crazy. Unlike anything that I've seen in my lifetime when it comes to California, especially Los Angeles. We don't get this kind of stuff. At least not this crazy, right? We get fires pretty often, especially around the summertime, and they can get bad, but they're pretty much contained at a certain point, right? But nothing like this. In all of my lifetime that I've been alive, I haven't seen anything crazy like this. We're kind of spoiled on these parts of California. We don't get hurricanes, twisters, crazy fires like this. We don't get these natural disasters like that over here. So we've been kind of spoiled and conditioned to kind of just like, I don't know, live regularly. And the weather is always pretty much great year round, you know? So for this to happen out here, makes you question what's going on, you know? And I have some information that I want to get into. Oh, we gonna get into it. Because I was looking some stuff up. Getting some details, doing a little research. And I found some stuff that I want to get into that's very, 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 very interesting. So we're going to do a little deep dive. Okay? Are we going to get into it? First things first, I want to talk about, this is from Drop Site News, okay? Because the fire department, as you guys know, were under budget and also could not cannot contain these fires alone, right? We've called into all kinds of different places, different cities, different countries to come help and contain this fire, right? And I wanted to get into that because the LA Fire Department has a lot to say about this, right? And you would think that the fire department is on the side of the mayor, right? Right? On the side of the government, but the LA Fire Department is with their hands out like this, like, what? What's going on? But they knew what's been going on, so we're gonna get into it. This is from Drop Site News. Freddie Escobar, an Los Angeles Fire Department captain and union president of the United Firefighters of Los Angeles City, expresses his frustration with Mayor Bass's budget cuts despite the scarcity of funds and staffing of the fire department at a budget hearing months before the fires broke out. Here's a clip. We're going to get into that. Give me 1 second here. Boom. Here we go.
Good afternoon, Chairman Blumenfield, honorable committee members, Freddie Escobar, and I proudly serve as a Captain 2 with the LAFD, and I'm also the union president for the United Firefighters of Los Angeles City. I'm here today to express UFLAC's disappointment regarding Mayor's proposed budget, which calls for a $23 million cut in the LAFD. We understand the city has a budget deficit and a homeless crisis, but these problems were not created by your firefighters. The LAFD has fewer firefighters and medics today than we had 15 years ago, but our emergency calls for service has increased by more than 50% during that same time. We are on the front lines of this homeless crisis, saving lives in your communities every single day. 50% of the fires we respond to come from our homeless population. And the city reportedly spends $1.3 billion each year on homeless programs. But the LAFD is scheduled to receive a $23 million cut. This absolutely makes no sense. We don't have enough firefighters and medics. We don't have enough fire engines. We don't have enough trucks and ambulances in the field. And we don't have the equipment and staffing we need to respond to more than 500,000 emergency calls for service every year. This is a tough budget cycle, but funding the LAFD shouldn't be a tough choice. Every single day, our firefighters and medics are there for your constituents in their worst moments. Now it's time for our elected leaders to stand up for us and lead. Stand up for the Los Angeles Fire Department and our firefighters and medics. UFLAC urges you to provide funding for the priorities identified by Chief Crowley and her command staff. Show your commitment to public safety and our firefighters by making the LAFD budget a top priority in your community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Based. Here's the catch, though. Here's the catch. That statement was made in May of 2024. Months before the fire broke out in January, this month. Months before. The fire department been telling the city, the government, the mayor, the people in charge that we need more money. We need more money. And they weren't listening. Key points here that I want to point out in this video that he just said, just a couple of key points that are going to further make my point moving forward here, is the fire department over the last 15 years, he said this, right? The fire department over the last 15 years has less firefighters, but emergency calls for service has increased 50% more. So they have less firefighters, but the demand for emergencies has increased 50%, right? Leaving them understaffed, leaving them empty-handed, right? So that's one. 50% of fires, 50% of the fires the Los Angeles Fire Department respond to come from homeless people. But LA spends $1.3 billion on homeless programs. So listen to this. 50% of fires come from, according to this fire department chief, captain, and president of the United Firefighters of Los Angeles City. Too many words here for me. But according to him, he says 50% of the fires come from homeless people. Yet LA spends $1.3 billion on a homeless program. What does that say? What does that tell you? That money is not solving the homeless issue. Just giving people money is not helping the problem. It's not solving the problem. How are 50% of the fires caused by homeless people, yet we're continuing to give them these programs that aren't working? Because if they were working, they wouldn't be starting these problems. They wouldn't be rampant all over the country. Because these programs that they're doing aren't programs that are actually helping the homeless people. Not that I'm aware of, because I still see them in LA all over the place. Because you can't just give somebody money or give somebody a place to stay or give somebody food and thinking that that's going to help them overcome. No! But that's what's happening. So they're decreasing the funds to the firefighters who are taxpayers, who work hard, you know what I mean? Who are doing their job to help us, to keep us safe. They're cut funding to them, but giving money to the homeless and feeding them and housing them. And meanwhile, they're oftentimes causing problems. Isn't that interesting? Money is not helping. So let's move on really quick. Let's move on because as of May 2nd, which was when that hearing took place, 2024, 86 emergency vehicles were out of commission in Los Angeles because funds had not been allocated to hire sheet metal workers and mechanics to fix them. This includes 40 fire engines which carry water and are used to fight fires, 36 ambulances, and 10 fire trucks, says Captain Chung Ho. Right, so Chung Ho is like, listen, we got a problem here, y'all. Telling them at the hearing as well. He was also speaking at that same hearing, right? This is back in May, y'all. Because Karen Bass proposed a budget cut bill, right? She proposed these budget cuts in April, right? May comes and the fire department seen this proposal and they're like, no, Karen, you can't do this. We need more workers. We need more. We cannot cut these budgets. As a matter of fact, we actually need more budget. You can't cut us. We need more. So but Karen Bass's bill, let me tell you what proposed, deleted 73 vacant non-firefighting civilian positions in the department, right? Cutting these positions in the department, transferring funding from salary accounts to overtime pay accounts. So what that did was cutting the funding had to cut a lot of employees, right? Non-firefighter employees, right? But those employees are also as important because those are the mechanics that work on these fire trucks to make them function, right? So she cut those, so they had to fire them. And what they're doing is now they're just paying the firefighters and the workers that are left overtime, right? So we'll pay you overtime if you work a little bit more and so on and so forth, right? And that sounds good because these firefighters are getting more money, right? They're able to take home more money, but they can't, their workload is too heavy, right? They need these other jobs. So, these non-firefighter positions include sheet metal workers, welders, and mechanics who keep the fleet of the department vehicles operational. Captain Ho reiterated how important these positions are He says members of this committee need to know that fire trucks, engines, and ambulance are consistently in need of repairs and services. So they're not even able to make these repairs on a consistent basis because they fired all the workers. Right? So these trucks, this assistance that the firefighters need, and the water and all these things that are needed for these firefighters to do their job, they're not able to properly do it because they're being held back by the lack of funds, the lack of utilities, and all that stuff. But this is where it get deep. Oh, this is where it get deep. Captain Ho. This is where it get deep. This is for Fire Rescue 1. Bass proposed a $23 million budget cut for the Los Angeles Fire Department funds in April of last year. So she proposed this bill, right? She said, we got to cut the funds of the fire department, right? In April 2024. May 2nd comes along, like I just said, where the hearing of the fire department representatives to overturn the budget cut plans, they speak with an expression of scarcity in the department, right? That's in May, right? Well, at the end of May and early June, the city council approved the mayor's budget cut for $17 million, and Bass signed the deal in June. So even though these professional firefighters seen this bill, not firefighters, but firefighters and representatives of the fire department, seen this deal and was like, this ain't gonna work. Now, if you want us to protect the city, we can't be doing those budget cuts. They even did a hearing, right, to convince the city council and to convince Mayor Bass not to do this. Despite the hearing, Mayor Bass still went along with the cuts. And then how many months later? June, July, August, September, October, November, December. 6 months later, the fires break out. Crazy fires going on, destroying cities, multiple fires, burning buildings, killing people. You know what I mean? 6 months after the deal was signed. I say this to say a couple things. Who knows what's going on behind the scenes? Because why is this Karen Bass person making a call like that? That makes no sense. It makes no sense. And that's why I say, is it intentional or is it incompetence? Right? Is there a agenda going on behind the scenes to make something as wild as this happen? Or is this person just crazy? Right? Or are they just this person just lazy and not doing their job properly? It leaves you question. It makes you question. But it also makes me question the women. The women. It makes me question the women. Meaning that the women in the positions of leadership, can they handle the job? You know, because they're the ones making, some of these major decisions. And I'm not saying God can do what he wants. And who am I to judge and say that every woman should not be in any position? I prefer not to see it. In my belief, leadership roles go directly to a man because men are supposed to lead, right? It's not fit for a woman. I believe that to be true 100%. My stance is pretty solid on that. But I'm also not here to say what is wrong, right? But the point is, it keeps pointing back to these people in these positions making these decisions. Because what to me it seems like is the mama spirit, the mama syndrome, right? Because why is $1.3 billion going to homeless programs and budget cuts are being cut in the fire department and the police department? Budgets are being cut. Meanwhile, these people are the ones who directly protect the city. But the people who need help, right? But oftentimes they're not even willing to help themselves. The homeless are the ones getting all the funds. It's just not logically making sense unless it's coming from this mama spirit. Help the poor homeless out. Help them out. The firefighters and police officers, they're too aggressive. They're misogyny. They'll be all right. Meanwhile, they're risking their lives, putting their lives on the line. They have families. You know what I mean? They're not paid enough. They're taxpayers, hard workers, and they're the ones that have to suffer, right? And your families and the citizens have to suffer because the department can only do so much, the police and the fire department. Why? But let's give all the homeless people the money. What the? What the? And I'm not saying let's desert homeless people. I'm just saying, like, what are these programs? This is what I would think. This is what I believe to be true right here, what I'm about to tell you, is that the way you help somebody overcome is, for one, first they got to want to. If they don't want to, they can't stay here. They can't be here. You can't just be on the streets if you're not willing to help yourself and want to grow. You can't. You're causing problems. You're starting fires. 50% of the fires in LA are coming from homeless people. They're starting fires. They're causing problems. They're leaving mess everywhere. But there are some that maybe want actually help, right? These programs, in my opinion, should be encouraging them to work, homeless people. We'll help you get on your feet if you work, right? You earn your way, right? Because what did I say in the little scripture? That an idle mind is the devil's playground, meaning a man who just sits around all day and does nothing, or a woman, the idle mind is the devil's playground. So put them to work, keep them busy, let them get that nature, that momentum going, right? Right? Keep them busy. And then if they want food or a place to stay, they're working for that, right? Also, they're getting help, right? They're getting the proper help to start overcoming these issues that they're having. That's what these programs should be about. Not about no free housing. Not about no free debit cards. Not about because you're feeding the begging and lazy nature in people to not work. You're spoiling adults, all because you feel bad, all because of these feelings that you have. And who typically are the ones who feel that way? Women. Because women tend to be more emotional. So they want to save everybody, but don't know how to save. So if they don't know how to save, what should they do? Tell daddy. What's the solution? Ask the man, what's the solution here? And let the man come in here and give the solution. You know what I'm saying? Put the homeless to work. Refund the police. It's just because it's backwards. Everything is backwards. So that's what we're seeing. Man. And it ain't no put down nothing to no women, no nothing. It ain't misogyny. It ain't hatred. So I just wanted to share with you guys that the LAFD fire department ain't on the side with the government. They're like, come on, y'all, we need some money, we need some help. They play the politics though a little bit too, because they have that female mayor. I mean that female captain. That female captain, fire chief. And she happens to be a lesbian as well, or identifies as a lesbian. So they play the politics as well, which I don't like that. But she also tends to be against all that's going on, meaning she's trying to get the funding back to the fire department, according to reports. So she's actually, according to reports, at odds with Mayor Bass. But still, put the men in there. Just put the men in there. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, I'm going to take some calls on that, and then we'll get more into it if need be. I got so much I want to say about that, but let's get to some calls. But first, before I get to the calls, let me just check the super chats here, make sure that I'm not missing anything. Give me 1 second. Harmony says, Joel, have you participated in local politics? I have not. I have not. That really hasn't been a thought. I think I would need to know a little bit more, be a little more educated about this kind of stuff. But what I do say is I'm grateful for the common sense that I've developed and learned over the years that is missing in politics. But I'm not very educated and as smart as these guys like JLP, Hake, and Nick when it comes to politics. I'm not as hip. So that hasn't really been a thought, but I'm learning so much about this stuff because you ain't got no choice. The politics is all jacked up. It makes you get involved. You know what I mean? Well, I'm learning so much, so you never know what can happen. I don't know. One day at a time, one step at a time. But I've never considered that. But right on, Harmony, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Shout out, Harmony. C-Sal says, from yesterday, C-Sal says, let's ban all callers that say period. Yeah, I think it was Jaden. Jaden said, period. He was referring to... That's funny. I kind of thought about that, but thank you, C-Sal, for the super chat. Bella Z sends 2 super chats. Right on, Bella. Shout out to Bella. 2 emojis she sends. Thank you, Bella, for the super chats. Appreciate you. Kel Samogi, so true, Joel. Feelings over logic ruins women. Yes, women can be logical too, but they tend to be on the weaker side of logic. They tend to be the weaker vessel. And it doesn't make them weak, but they are just they're just the weaker vessel is the best way I can put it. But they can still be logical, they can still overcome, and they can still, be on the side of righteousness. But you know how that goes. It's a lot harder, but it's possible. Carol says, Joel, what? He's a pastor. Oh, okay. That was from a few days ago. Right on. I appreciate you guys for the super chats. Let me just check one more thing here. Make sure I'm not missing nothing. Let me make sure. All right. Interesting stuff. Let me go to the calls, and we're going to go from there. Let me go to Jaden out of California. Jaden, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
What's up, Joel?
How's it going, Jaden?
Yo, I got to share my plan with you to get rid of most problems in America, and I just want your intake on it.
Right.
So
right
basically, if Donald Trump, this is what I would do if I was Trump.
Okay.
I would kick out all the immigrants, all of them,
Ooh.
right? All the immigrants, the Mexicans, the illegals, right? And then I would take the homeless people. I would take the homeless and every single criminal that has like a felony. And you know how Trump is talking about annexing Canada, right? Or like a parts of Canada or whatever. I would actually do that. I would take a chunk of Canada and shove all the homeless, all the criminals, all the, violent people in that chunk of Canada, and then reformat the guards from the prison to be border patrol along that line. And then if they want to come back, they can, or they could live free in Canada, go do it, go build their own societies out there, right? But if they want to come back, they have to agree to a contract to work for basically free on those farms that the immigrants were just working. And they have to agree to work there for like 5 years, and then they can be a citizen again.
Based.
Is that a good plan?
No, that's interesting. What does it mean by when Trump is annexing Canada? What does that mean? Explain that.
Like he's making some of Canada a state. Like he's taking one of their states and making it part of America.
Oh, I see. So there'll be this little section of Canada that is vacant.
Well, Canada, if you look at Canada's states, they're like huge, bro. So
okay.
I would just take, and their economy is so bad. Realistically, Trump could actually do it if he wanted, because he could just cripple the economy. I don't think he's going to do that. But if he did, just take one part of Canada, shove all the homeless and violent into it, and that would create jobs because we need like transportation to get the people over there.
Yeah.
We need border guards. And then we could take the money from prisons and use it on something else. And it gives all those people freedom because they obviously don't like America's laws. So go make your own laws over there. Go have like an anarchy nation over there. You know what I mean?
It's an interesting point because for those that don't want to be functioning members of society can go to this, let's just say, hypothetical new part of Canada or whatever, and can be forced to work and be forced to do manual labor. And if not, then there should be other consequences if they still don't want to be a functioning member of society. And I like that. And that way...
Yeah, it's like, that guy earlier today, he was like, all the gangbangers should be on like...
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Yeah, bro, except all the gangbangers and homeless and literally anyone who's in prison. Put them in one side. Yeah, let them do what they want, bro. Yeah. They don't even need a word. They could just kill each other all day. But if they want to come back, they have to agree to work on the farms for 5 years. Minimum.
If they want to come back here, they have to work on the farm for 5 years. No pay?
Oh, they get like food and housing, and they'll get like some pay, but we make it way cheap. Because you know how they're always saying, well, we need immigrants for cheap labor, right? Well, this is going to solve that. Cheap labor, bro. They want to come back.
Yeah, a lot of people, and I think even the blacks or the people who want to go to let's just say that there was an island, because I was actually agreeing with JLP wasn't saying this, but JLP, Jesse Lee Peterson played a clip where a black man was saying, why don't we have our own little state where we can go commit crime and do whatever we want and nobody can bother us. And if we cross the line, we can be killed as well. I don't know if it has to be that serious, but I kind of like the idea of there being a place, because a lot of people who live in the U.S. complain about the U.S. and things that these aren't fair, and then defund police. Well, if there was a designated city, right, or a little piece of land, I say a little island, so that way they can't just change their mind and come back here. They got to swim or something, right, with the sharks. There'd be a little designated island that that people can volunteer to go over to if they don't like what's going on over here, and they can start their own little thing and do their own thing. And that way, when they see that it's not working, they'll wake up and realize, wow, we're gonna have to assimilate to the U.S. if we want to go back. And then they'll find, and there'll be a process to assimilation. You don't just get to come back over here all willy-nilly. You got to show yourself worthy and blah, blah, blah. But I like that idea.
Yeah. It'll also take care of those kids. I used to be one of these kids who are like, I didn't choose to be born in America. Why should I be forced to follow the laws? I didn't choose to be born here. We could just send those kids over there and be like, all right, bro.
All right, bet.
Make your own laws.
First. Nice,
I
man.
mean, and if they do end up becoming like, because, Canada has a lot of resources, lumber, oil. If they end up somehow getting those resources, we can trade with them and boost our own economy. If they end up, making some sort of civilization.
Interesting. Interesting. No, I'm totally. It sounded like, I think it was a joke that the guy was making, but it's like, I thought it was a good idea. I'm like, you guys don't want to be here, then that's fine. You can go to a place where you want to be, but you don't get to have the resources that we have. You don't get to enjoy that. You create your own thing. And I like that. So, but it won't happen. It won't happen though. We won't see that.
Yeah.
That won't happen. But it was a nice idea. But I appreciate it, Jaden. Any other comments before I move the calls here?
Yeah, check your Instagram, bro. I've been sending you a bunch of video ideas and things I've been thinking of.
Okay, cool. I'll check it out, man. Thanks for calling, Jaden. I appreciate it. And call me again, man. Nice. Listen. Don't play with me when it comes to that little island. That's perfect. Somebody says that it already exists. It's Los Angeles. True. But I don't know. Put it on a little island. And listen, nobody's being forced to go over there. You can go over there if you want to. And a lot of people would go because they have these complaints and they blame and they feel like victims. And a lot of black people, and maybe not all, but a lot of black people want to identify with black culture, and they want to be around only black people, and they want to do it their way, and they don't want whites to be involved, and they don't want to be told what to do. That's fine. If that's how you believe, then go to this island that we have designated. Go to this island, and you guys can have all that you want. And it's not just for the black. Anybody that wants to live a certain way, LGBTQ, blacks, homeless, trans, whatever it is, you want to live your own way and you feel like America is so unfair, misogynistic, blah, blah, blah. You can go to this designated island and you guys conduct it how you want. Go ahead. And we can give them, we can have a little structure set up that we set up for them so they're not totally out of control. But we don't run it. We let them figure out how to use it and function, right? We give them a little system of operations, right? Because I don't know if they'll be able to build it on their own. We give them a little system of operations, set up a little structure for them, but we don't tell them how to run it or anything. We don't train them. We just say, here, look, we gave you a little bit. Go over there, do your thing, make it function. Show us wrong. Prove us wrong. Prove America that you guys can do it. You don't need us. That you're the first. You're the first Jews. And that blacks were the first ones. Jesus was black. Prove it. Show us. And then if it functions and it works out, you can laugh in America and say, ha, ha, ha. Right? You get the glory, you get the street cred, and you have a functioning society operated by your people. right? Sounds like a great idea. I guarantee it won't happen that way, though, because they would see that a lot of the values that white people hold, and it's not even white people values, but a lot of the values that white people hold, which is just godly values, which is just Christianity, are values that are proper for functioning in a just society and proper in functioning your proper communities, clean communities, overcoming. And they would see that, oh, this is what they're talking about. But sometimes you gotta let people hang themselves with their own rope. And that's a metaphor, YouTube. I'm not serious. But sometimes you gotta let people smash into the wall on their own so they can wake up and see what So I like the idea. Shoot. Joel drinks Smirnoff Ice. Amazing stuff. Santino with the super chat says, we need more conservative Christians in government, real men. Women can't make difficult decisions because their emotions cloud their judgment mostly. I'm not saying that women can't make a sound decision. I wouldn't go as far as to say that, but I get your point, Santino, is that in these positions of leadership, it's meant for men. In my belief, it's meant for men. Because then people will question me and say, well, what about Joan of Arc? And what about the women in the Bible who did like strong things? It's a good question. I'm just looking at today, and I'm just looking at what I believe to be true when it comes to the order of life. And I just see it's best for men to deal with these things, right? But the country definitely needs real men for sure. And shout out Donald Trump, because we got a man in there who's really solid and doing the best he can. And it brings hope to others who are trying to overcome as well. So we're grateful and we're lucky for people like Donald Trump who are really trying to fight for the country. So it's amazing stuff. Shout out Santino. Thank you, Santino. Appreciate it. John Gwaines with the super chat, no comments. Thank you, John. Right on. Let me go to Rick out of Hampton, Virginia. Rick, welcome to the show. You're on the air. Rick. Yo, Rick.
Joel, what's up, my brother?
How's it going, Rick?
Hello? Man, I'm going pretty good there, Joel. How's it going, my brother?
All is well.
Man, I just want to comment on it. Just seemed like with all the mayors, you know, it's all the black mayors in America. The one in Illinois, they like they running the cities like they the mafia or something. You see what I'm saying?
And can you give us an example?
Yeah, like what's that? What's her name? She's in Illinois, and and everybody trying to get her out of office, man, because she just pretty much just running down the city. New Orleans, look at that. You know, another mayor in St. Louis, they were saying she's going on. She traveled more than she was actually doing the job in St. Louis. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It just seemed like, man, I don't know why, man. It just seemed like not all, but a lot of we blacks can't run out there. What you think?
No, it's like, because you know what I think it is, Rick, is that culturally, the rules of the culture is all jacked up. Like people, like blacks tend to identify with culture opposed to God,
What's
right?
right.
What's right? Christianity. And because they also are taught to look at Christianity as the white man's religion, and they identify with the color, and so they're missing the truth. They're missing how to overcome. So they end up just being stuck with these weird, twisted, upside down mindsets that come from the black culture that don't produce like a functioning society. So yeah, it's like you know, it's messed up for sure.
And you're right too, Joy. It's like even in the prison, I did corrections. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like when you have your Hispanic prisoners, if they get a new check in, man, they helping him with his bags. And hey, we family. They just encouraging them. So do the whites. So do the Asians. But when a black guy check into the pen,
Yeah.
first thing the black says, I guess he's working for the warden to snitch on us.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it just gotta be, man. It's like no togetherness, man. We can't. Our communities, man, it seems like we under a spiritual curse. Not all of us,
Yeah.
but most.
Yeah.
It's like even Africa says our women are overly sexed, and they say our men are gangsters. They don't even want us over there.
Yeah, what's so funny too, Rick, is that sometimes I'm realizing too is that you gotta let people drown. You know what I mean? You gotta let people
I definitely
drown.
agree with you.
Because when they drown, they realize, wow, we actually appreciate the help. Wow, we actually don't know how to swim. And then they'll start reaching out and realizing that they need help. But when we just give everybody things and just feel bad for everybody and all this stuff, then that's when they go out of control. And I think, unfortunately, people had to, lose their life in these fires, and it has to burn thousands and thousands of buildings and homes for people to kind of see like, wait, somebody like Bash probably shouldn't be in there. Or, they start to question things now, but these are things that we've been seeing that have been weird and fishy and not right. So sometimes people just gotta land face flat, I think.
Oh yeah, well he's a bust their head open.
Yeah.
In order for them to learn. But
Yeah.
you think about it, Joel, all the countries that are run by people of color, not to be joking, their main economy is tourism. If people didn't come there for tourism, that country wouldn't be nothing.
Yeah.
All these nations that's ran by people of color wouldn't be nothing if it weren't for tourism.
Interesting.
And like South America, people of color down there, Mexico, every one of the countries, the Caribbean have a socialist economy, and tourism their main economy. Look like to me, it's their main economy. And if that's all they have is tourism, man, if people decide not to vacation, man, they done.
That's an interesting point. I think of like people in LA who come to like Hollywood like the tourists come here. They're like funding Hollywood to stay afloat, but Hollywood's quality of food and quality of life is so low that they're not forced to update their quality. They're just being given this money by this tourists, right? And they're able to stay afloat, but they're not actually functioning properly. And it's because the tourists, no matter what, they're gonna come out here anyway, and
that's right.
They're being funded. So it's an interesting point that you're making.
It's tour. It's mostly tourism. It's just like Joel, and another thing too, man. And it's really sad. It really is. Just like Sunny Host on The View. Every time you hear her, this country is stolen. Like they were talking about the fires in California, and she like going around saying, California, by the way, is stolen. Well, Sonny, if you feel that bad about this country, you go to Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you this, if it weren't for the United States of America, Puerto Rico would be pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
They really would. I mean, I'm just being honest. It seemed like the U.S. has an umbilical cord to Puerto Rico.
Interesting.
And all that. And, like, I'm an HVAC tech by trade. Here in the U.S., I can make anywhere from 25 to 50 an hour. Down in Puerto Rico, with the same experience, I'd be making $18 an hour.
Wow.
Now, you tell me.
Yeah.
You see? I mean,
I think, And I think, and then I just got to move the calls so we're running out of time. But
Okay.
I think, it's an interesting point is that there's no incentive to want to really. I think Americans are just kind of spoiled, right? And there's those who are waking up and they realize they should be grateful, and there are those who just want to suck the life out of the system and make a quick buck, or bleed the system dry and find the shortcuts to make the money that aren't producing quality to the USA. So I think United States and the people in charge are spoiling us citizens too much, and I think people like Trump got to come in and change that.
Yeah, and it's funny, man. The biggest employer in the U.S., I believe, is the government, and they should not be the biggest employers.
Yeah,
in my opinion, it's the U.S. government, man, and all these people talk about I can go to Puerto Rico and I can. It's really nice down there, but I always make that challenge there, Joel. Go down there without your American money and go down there and compete with everybody else down there for a living.
And see,
you going down there living on a high hole. That's what you're going to do. No wonder it's going to be nice for you.
Yeah, interesting.
But they won't go down there and compete with the citizens down there.
Yeah.
Then that's when you can tell me if it's really nice down there. Do I have opportunity down there? You don't go take your money and go down there rich already, and then you live like a hog. You living on a high hog.
Yeah. Good points, Rick. I appreciate it. I'm looking at the time here, and I just got to...
Thanks for taking my call, Joel, man. Love the show, man. Y'all be good. Love y'all. Now tune in tomorrow. Lord, say the same.
All right. You as well, Rick. Thank you. I think it should be that everybody... I guess this would be force, and I guess we're not supposed to force people to do things, but everybody should have to one time a year take a trip to a country that is not like the U.S. and have a team of people where they're protected, right? So they can get a glimpse of how good the United States. I would love to go and do that and be reminded about what we have here, right? Especially people who are born here and never really leave. That would be a good thing. Everybody got to take at least one trip a year to like a country that's a mess, so you can be grateful for what you got here at the U.S. That'd be nice. Let me go to Maze at Dana, Ohio. I got a few minutes left here. Maze, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Well, Joel, I can tell you, just because you're in America don't mean that it's the best thing for you or the best thing that ever happened. Leaving the country could be sometimes you learn things that you don't know about.
True. That's true. That's true.
So, and then when it comes to tourists and all of those people, as Rick say, if people got out of the other people's countries and leave them alone and let them survive off of their minerals and all of the stuff that they have on their land, and get what would you call them? Alibis, not alibis, but that the U.S. have to rely on allies.
The allies?
Yeah, why do they have to have allies? Why can't they just stand alone? Because they're busy needing allies because they're doing stuff they don't have nothing to be doing. And then when it comes to California, did somebody start those fires or they just came up out of clear blue sky?
Wait, so what point are you trying to make here, Maze?
Allies, why do you have them? And everything in America is owned by somebody else and it's not here. America sold out a long time ago.
Okay.
From the universities to everything else. From the things you eat, the clothes you wear, and everything else. So what do America? Not even your medication, you can't even get it from here. So what else? People, when I'm listening to people running their job.
Regardless. Yeah, there's definitely a corruption in the government. There's a corruption in people in leadership, which actually you're actually speaking, but you're actually speaking to also the women that you tend to side with, who are also in charge as well. The men as well. But I'm just saying, you like to defend the women in politics. You like to defend the women in politics, but they're also in here causing
black
trouble as well.
Black people had nothing to do with it. Y'all always want to blame black people or people of color. So, we're not stupid. Y'all take our tax dollars just like they take everybody else's and try to use.
So when we zoom out and look at the bigger picture of the United States, when you look at the bigger picture of the United States, you don't see United States as what do you see United States as when you look at the bigger picture? Do they represent good or evil?
I look at it as a country that's been sold out, and I look at these Congress people sitting up there wanting a pay raise from our money, and they're not doing anything for the people.
That's the details.
Just
So
getting paid
that's
and
not
getting rich
zoomed
for-
out. That's not zoomed out. Zoomed out.
That's what I see.
But when you zoom out, you realize that America itself is holy land, and
No, it's not.
yes, it is. And the people who are born here should be grateful to be born here because there is something that's special about United
They
States of
don't even
America.
respect-
The freedom, the rights that we have to do all these different things are based off the Constitution. And all these things are great things that we have. The only issues that I find is that we've fallen away from the things, the values that the country was founded on. We've fallen away, but it doesn't mean that
It wasn't
the
founded on no
country,
values.
it's became what it is based off of values that were created with, and they were godly values from the very beginning.
were not.
Yeah, they were.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they were. You said what?
Native American land, so it was taken from them. So if there was some
What
values,
the-
it would be on it. So I don't know how people can ask people to leave a country that don't belong to them. That's why nothing in it belongs to them anymore. That's what's wrong with the people, and we don't have nothing to do
So
with it.
you think this is stolen land? You think this is stolen land?
They need to get over the blackness and think about what's happening to them around the world.
And what is that? What is that? What's happening to them around the world?
Well, we looked at a war zone. We looked at people going to other people's countries, taking over, changing governments, killing people, and doing all this stuff. Ain't no women doing that. Who's doing that? I always put something on somebody. People that's doing it.
So you're saying, so what's the point you're making about the United States? Are you saying the United States is not a good place to live? It's not the
Say
land
that it wasn't a good place to live, but it's not the best place for some people. It's not.
and who are those people?
The hellified place to live for some people.
But why though? Why
Well,
is that bad though? Why is it bad for some people to live in the United States?
Because they get mistreated. And the things that other people that try to hold them back from getting it, they got the same thing.
But that's
and then
not
they try
due to
red light them and do all this crazy stuff.
But that's not due to America. That's due to the people that are in leadership, right? That's due to the people that are in leadership.
Who's in
They're
leadership?
dropping the ball, and
Really.
and there's
they can
men,
get money.
and
They can
there's-
have friends abroad and everywhere, but certain people can't.
No, it's bad leadership.
No, they can't.
It's bad leadership. But you defend some of these people that are doing crazy things. Like you
Oh, yeah,
defend,
kind of government.
you love, what's her name? The girl that almost became president. You love her. You love
That's a
Karen
woman
Bass.
girl.
You defend people like Karen Bass.
Well,
And
Karen Bass ain't do anything either. That's her job. You mad because
she didn't
because a woman turned you down, you couldn't get a job, and you mad because a woman did it and she was in charge.
because she made weird decisions. You don't think that it was a bad? You don't think it was a bad decision to make to give $1.3 billion to homeless programs, but defund the fire department?
Well, to defund the fire department.
Yeah, she
That had nothing to
defunded.
do with the fire.
Yeah.
So what?
Well, but it had a lot to do with the fire. It would have helped a lot more than it did.
No, it wouldn't have. That's why it looked like a war zone. There's nothing there. Sometimes things are taken away from people as you with your religion. It's taken away for somebody to open their eyes and stop from being so much like heathens until they
But,
don't have nothing what it feel like to be homeless.
Fire. So how are the fire department heathens? What did they do to be
I didn't say the
heathens?
fire department was a heathen. I'm talking about the way it looked and all of the
So-
stuff that burned up.
So
but
then
y'all
why
want to blame somebody else.
Why defund the fire department if they need the resources to protect the city?
Well, the research, maybe there was no protection. If the money would have been there, it still would have probably burned up.
What the? Okay, I got to end because Nick is
It's
coming
like
in
the next
here.
come through and they're not prepared for it, and they can't be prepared for it.
We're gonna have to continue this mess another
You sure
day.
do. And so y'all leave women alone and black people alone because we
All
ain't
right.
had nothing to do with none of this stuff we looking at.
Ooh, we. You
That's right, black people
identify.
get
You identify
anything
with
that-
women and
I
blacks.
want to use that crutch.
Fair enough. Well, I
Appreciate
appreciate it,
it, man.
Mage.
Have a good
I
day.
gotta go. Bye, y'all. I gotta go. American Anchor Baby's coming in right now. Maze identifies with being a woman and being black. The red flag. Red flag. I gotta end, y'all. Until next time, I'll be back here tomorrow. And blah blah blah. American Anchor Baby coming in right now. All right. Bye.